digestive system was not covered by mucus, then what would have happened? Come on, tell me. If there was no mucus inside your mouth and your nose, what would have
If
happened?
there was no mucus mesh?
If your entire internal part of the body was dry, then what would have happened?
Wait, Messi, give me a second. Just
Hmm.
one minute.
Hamza, you and also I'm just coming in 1 minute. Okay, so this was just an interesting picture which I wanted to share. And then this is something which is very, very basic and very easy about the diet and the importance of a balanced diet. So
Okay.
it's a very frequently asked definition that what's a balanced diet. So your answer should never be that a diet is balanced. A balanced diet is a diet which is balanced, right? A balanced diet is the diet which contains the correct amount of nutrients in the correct proportions, right? Meaning that since you have done biological molecules with me, Hamza, so you tell me now from the list of these substances, which of these are organic molecules? Yes.
Which one of these are organic molecules?
Yes. I've
Carbohydrates,
already told.
protein, fats,
Yes, yes.
uh,
Carbohydrates and
proteins and fats, right?
proteins and fats. What about water? Is it organic?
Water is made up of H2O, so it consists of no carbon.
Yes. Minerals?
Minerals, no miss.
Yes. But vitamins are organic, right?
Oh
So
yeah,
carbs, proteins, fats, and vitamins are organic. Minerals and water are inorganic, right? And then besides these, now see, whenever I ask you list down the nutrients, nutrients means anything which has some value to your diet, you will list down these. But besides that, there is another important component of your diet, which is fiber. Although fiber is not really a nutrient, but at the same time, without fiber, it will be difficult for the digestive system to function. Basically, fiber makes it easy for the food to be pushed forwards in your digestive system, and it also allows you to pass out your feces, right, or the unabsorbed or undigested food in an easy manner. If you don't have fiber in your diet, then you will have chronic constipation and digestive issues. And in fact, a very long term chronic deficiency of fiber can lead to bowel cancer also. Just to give you some extra point, because we should teach extra points to students, because in Cambridge also they sometimes give you suggest type questions. So suggest type questions are always based on extra information. So people who have the habit of eating canned foods throughout their lifetime are at a great risk of developing bowel cancer, because canned foods do not contain fiber and they are not a healthy option. So given a choice to consume canned foods versus uncanned foods, your choice should always be uncanned foods, which means fresh fruits and vegetables, right? So canned foods do not contain fiber. That's why you should avoid them. Once in a while, yes, you can take, but not on a chronic basis or on a long term basis, right?
Is that why people tend to consume vegetables?
Is that yes? Of course, of course.
Vegetables tend to have what do you call
Fiber. Yes.
fiber, right? And Miss, what about
Vegetables,
starch? So like a lot
starch also has fiber.
of starch. So if we consume starch, humans cannot consume starch, right?
Of course, we can consume starch. Every day you are consuming starch. Aren't you eating potatoes? Do you eat French fries?
Oh, right. Because Miss, I read the chapter and it said that the starch is produced in plants. So I had the
Mm,
idea that humans can
it's
intake.
produced. Huh? It's produced in plants. It's eaten by us, but we never store excess glucose molecules in the form of starch.
Okay, Miss, got it.
Right? If we have excess, it's like this. Starch, I put starch in my mouth, it's broken down to maltose. Maltose is broken down to glucose. Now, if I have extra glucose molecules, besides those which I use in cellular respiration, all those extra glucose molecules will go to the liver to be stored as glycogen, not as starch. Right? But every day you are taking starch. The chapati that you eat, the rice that you eat, the potatoes, everything is rich in starch. Okay.
Okay, Miss, yeah,
So
got it.
so a diet, it contains all these things in the correct amounts and the correct proportions, is known as a balanced diet. In fact, if Ideally, the definition of a balanced diet should be a diet in which see, there is always some input of calories and then there is some output of calories, right? So what do you think, that if you want to check whether your diet is balanced, should your input be more than output? Yes or
It
no?
more than output. Output calories. Yes, miss. So if, yeah.
Exactly. And all those people who are severely malnourished, their input is always less than their output.
Yeah.
Have you done the calculation of efficiency of a machine or an engine in physics?
So it's output over input, right?
Exactly. It's the same thing. So if you want to check the efficiency of a human also, you have to look at how many numbers of calories he's taking, and is he taking a lot of calories extra than he actually needs, right? Or is he taking very less calories? And of course, the energy needs of a person also depends upon what factors. Now you tell me, before I tell you, you tell me, if I ask you what should be, or when if I'm a nutritionist and I want to calculate the energy needs of a human being, what should I take into account?
The amount of protein, carbs, lipids, he takes in, as well as water,
Hmm.
and
First
a
thing
lot
which I
of
should take into account. No. That's not the first thing that I should take into account. The first thing that I should take into account, your first question should be, who's that man or who's that person? Is he an adult? Is he a child? Is he an
right.
old man? Hmm. And the next question would be, what's the gender?
Why? Why
Right?
does gender matter?
Of course it matters. You tell me now, why does it matter? Why does the gender matter as far as the energy requirements are concerned?
Because males have bigger body than women.
Of course.
They have more
And by
muscle.
bigger body, what do you mean? What do males have? What thing or what structure are the males,
They have a
or
bigger,
what's
like the bigger muscles, more muscle, right?
yes, they have bigger muscle mass because they have a lot of testosterone in their body. So because of that, since they have a bigger muscle mass, so the amount of the energy that they need is much more as compared to the amount of energy that a girl of the same age needs, right? Or for example, that let's dig deep into it. Let's say we are comparing a male and a female, and then if we go deep, we will see what is the age of the person. Is he a young boy or is he an old man? So who needs more energy, a young boy or an old man?
Young boy.
Why young boy?
Because he's young, he requires more energy to function.
He's young, he requires more energy to function, his metabolic rate is high. Basically, now you're using this word, his metabolic rate is high. Okay, I have always given you the definition of metabolism. So what do you think metabolism is? Now how can you define metabolism?
Metabolism is like all the chemical reactions that are taking place inside of the body in order to keep an organism alive.
Exactly. So the rate of metabolism in a young male is much more as compared to an old male, because the old male is all the time sitting on the couch, okay, or watching TV, right? Or maybe he's sick, but the young male is running all the time. He's very active, maybe. And if, let's say, the young male is an athlete, then his requirement will be even more than the other young male who is not an athlete, who's not so physically active. Let's say he's a football
Yeah.
player, then in that case, his energy requirements will be much more. Okay, so the energy requirements, they depend on the lifestyle, on the age, on the gender. It also depends upon the presence or absence of diseases. Okay, if you are a healthy human being, your energy requirement will be less. If a person is hospitalized, his energy requirements will be less, and so on, right? Achha, energy is the ability to do work. Okay, and when we want energy, when human beings need energy, they take the energy from like we get energy in the form of ATP, and ATP is made by means of breaking the chemical bonds inside food. The food that we eat, since I've done biological molecules with you, so when I was teaching you these three molecules, I told you that the common thing between all carbohydrates, proteins, and fats is that they are made up of the elements carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, right? So
Yeah.
basically the energy is trapped between the or within the CH bonds. Okay, this trapped chemical energy is broken down. Okay, this trapped chemical energy is broken down to make ATP, and ATP is that universal energy currency that will be used to power all the different chemical reactions in your body. Now, the question for you, Hamza, can you give me examples of, let's say, if I ask you, give me 5 examples of the processes happening inside your body which need energy. Yes, what are the 5 examples?
Processes that are happening inside of our body. First of all,
Yes, then
with aerobic respiration. So,
aerobic respiration is giving you energy. It doesn't need energy. It's actually giving you ATP.
what do you mean by respiration, like processes?
See, okay. This is a process, and the name of this process is what? Come on, tell me.
C6H12O6 plus photosynthesis.
Is this photosynthesis, Hamza?
Wait, C6A6 plus O12. So it's glucose plus oxygen mixed up into what do you call? Carbon dioxide, water, and ATP.
So, what is the
Is
name of
that
this
not
chemical reaction?
is that not respiration?
Of course it is. Of course it is. This is aerobic. Right now you said aerobic means uses oxygen, cellular respiration. Now the job of aerobic cellular respiration is to provide you ATP. Now you've got this ATP and this is the currency, this is the energy currency of your body. Now my question was, take 2 to 3 minutes to tell me at least the name of 5 important processes inside your body in which you are going to use the ATP.
Uh, First of all, doing activity obviously requires ATP.
Okay, brain activity. Now brain activity is a correct word, but for not a biology student. So instead of that, you will say transmission of nerve impulses. Okay, you will
Okay.
say transmission of
Nerve.
nerve impulses. Right? Any other thing? Yes, the answer is correct.
Uh,
Think about your own self. Think about yourself. Think about what are those situations in which your body actually needs ATP and a process inside your body that needs to be powered by this currency.
powered by this currency. Maybe the production of enzymes.
Production of enzymes. Okay, very good. By production of enzymes, instead of saying production of enzymes, I would say protein synthesis. So any protein, in fact, enzyme is also a protein, any protein which needs to be synthesized inside your body needs energy from ATP. Excellent. Anything else?
Uh,
Yes.
there's then okay, so enzymes break down glucose like starch and stuff, right? So maybe the removal of waste substances, I guess, or
Removal of waste substances.
or active transport, miss. Active transport also requires ATP in our body.
Great. Active transport. Okay. When you contract your muscles, don't you need energy?
Yes, I
When you're
do.
going to a gym and you're running on a treadmill. So, of course, contraction of the muscles.
Oh yeah, contraction of the muscles.
Contraction of the muscles.
And then
And when I say contraction of the muscles, it means every muscle. For example, a skeletal muscle or a cardiac muscle or anything in your body. And besides that, all the mechanisms which are responsible for maintenance of your body balance. For example, maintenance of your body temperature.
is it homeostasis?
Exactly. Homeostasis needs energy.
Okay.
So these are some of the examples and some other examples we will do afterwards. Just to give you an idea, let's move forward. So see this graph, that's why I was discussing about the various energy requirements. So this graph is giving you a rough idea about the daily energy requirements of a child aged 8, a teenage male, see, teenage female, adult male, adult female. And why is the, of course, it's very much understandable that the energy requirements of a pregnant female are much, much more than an adult female, because pregnancy means it's a requirement for two people, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and yes, and these kind of graphs, they are given to you, bar graphs or bar charts in
Wait,
exams,
miss,
and
I
you're
have a
supposed to,
question.
yes,
Okay, so you know the baby that is present inside of the womb, right? Um, does it require more energy or more calories than any other type of being, like human being? Because isn't the baby being made at that stage? So aren't the cells multiplying at the highest rate in a way?
you're talking about just the baby.
Yes.
Acha, baby is actually getting everything from his or her mother.
Yeah,
So
that
it's
makes sense.
huh.
Um, but
So
obvious.
it's instead of saying, you're right, instead of saying that, the baby's requirement are double or whatever, it's just that you have to double the requirements of the female itself, because the baby is not using his lungs. The baby is active, but of course not that active as a baby who's born and who's doing other activities. It's just located inside the uterus of the mother. So everything it needs is extracted from the mother's blood and from the mother's bones, even calcium, everything.
Yeah, miss, that makes sense.
Huh,
So you know how babies start off from a one cell, right? Like I say, I forgot what the cell was
huh.
called. Uh,
Zygote.
yeah, zygote, right? So
Hmm.
that multiplies itself and then adapts it into other types of cells, right?
Specializes.
Specialized cells, right? So
Huh,
don't like
huh.
in order to change the structure or like cells or in order to be specialized, doesn't that one zygote cell need energy, like a massive amount of energy?
Of course. Of course
So
it needs, but not massive. Not massive. It needs, but not that much.
okay, because I was just asking, because you know how babies, so when babies present inside of a mother, its limbs are formed and bones and eyes and
Hmm,
everything else,
hmm,
right?
hmm,
So obviously, when a
hmm,
baby is actually made, like brought into real life, then it's just consuming energy in order to stay alive. But then
hmm,
it's consuming energy to stay alive and produce major organs, which are made up of
hmm,
proteins and fats and whatsoever.
hmm,
So I was just
hmm.
asking if they require a lot of energy
It's an
to be.
interesting question. It's an interesting question, and I have never thought about it like that. And of course, must be that if we are comparing that baby with the baby who's alive and who's born, and to compare what was the energy requirement of that baby when the cells were multiplying and was specializing with the current scenario when the baby is already well developed and formed. That's a good question, but I don't have an idea about the differences in the energy requirements, right?
But it was
But we
probably
can always,
investigated on, right? In the world.
huh?
It was probably investigated on in the world, right?
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
okay.
Um, okay. I think we've discussed all this, that the energy that we need, it comes from the food, and all foods, they contain energy. And yes, as far as the three organic nutrients are concerned, which are carbohydrate, fats, and proteins, if we compare their energy that they give us, 1 gram of protein and carbohydrate, what let's say the 1 gram of protein and carbohydrate is giving you 14 kilocalories. So as compared to protein and carbohydrate, 1 gram of fat will always give you twice as energy. And the reason for this is the larger number of the CH bonds in the fats. If I compare the CH bonds in the fats, proteins, and carbohydrates, the number of CH bonds in the fats are more. So the more the CH bonds, the more is the energy output. Okay. So this concept should be very, very clear. In fact, let me just write it for you.
Anyways, that
So,
concept is fine. I was reading about fats, right? And it was like a type of fat that was testosterone or something like that. I don't remember the name perfectly, but it was fat,
mhm,
right?
mm,
And the chemical formula for that fat was C57, H10, and O6. So the proportion
mhm,
in which oxygen was related to carbon and hydrogen was far less than carbon and hydrogen themselves. So I want to ask, so when we consume fat, right, we obviously gain energy, and when we consume carbs, we obviously gain energy. But why is it that after we eat fats, we feel heavy, and after we
mm.
consume carbs, we don't feel all that heavy, but we feel filled up?
You feel heavy because of this reason. Let me show you. Again, some A-level stuff. I'll just show you the structure and then you will have an idea. Look at this. This is the molecule of a fatty acid, right? And look at the CH bonds. CH bonds, CH bonds, CH bonds. Can you see the number? So many. Okay? The more the CH bonds, the more the energy value of that nutrient. Okay? This is one kind of fatty acid. This is another kind of fatty acid. The reason why you feel heavy when you take something oily or fat substance is because of the large number of the CH bonds. Now let's compare these CH bonds with the CH bonds of a carb. I'll show you a carb and then you will yourself realize, okay, now this has less number of CH bonds. So let's look at them. Okay. This is a carb. This is glucose. Don't look at these diagrams, just look at this one. This one. How many CH bonds? Does this have less CH bonds as compared to the diagram I just showed you?
Yes, right? It does.
So understandably, you will feel lighter when you take a glass of milk or a banana as compared to when you eat something really oily or a pizza or whatever, which has a lot of fats in it, right? So the fats means it has lots of CH bonds, and lots of CH bond means that the energy density of fats is much, much more as compared to that of carbs and proteins. So let me just write it down for you. Just a minute. Yes, we were here. The energy value of organic nutrients. So we have carbs, and if you want, you can note this down. And proteins, fats. So these two have less number of CH bonds. After I'm done with this slide, I'm going to end the meeting and then we restart it once again. Hamza, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, miss. Hello?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I'm now ending, okay? Carbs, and you can take a screenshot if you want to, because then